All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle a super practical skill that every Vietnamese learner needs: how to smoothly exchange phone numbers. So if you're a beginner and you want to nail this key social interaction, you are in exactly the right place.
So picture this. You're in Vietnam, you're having a great chat with someone, and you're thinking, hey, I want to stay in touch. But then you get to that moment, that slightly awkward pause where you're not quite sure what to say. If that sounds familiar, don't even worry about it. We're going to solve that problem for you right now.
Okay, first things first. The most fundamental part of all this. How do you actually ask for someone's number? Let's dive into the key phrases you're going to need.
This is your absolute go-to, your bread and butter question. "Số điện thoại của bạn là gì?" It's clear, it's polite, and it literally breaks down to phone number of you is what? This is the perfect, straightforward way to ask for a personal number.
Now, what if you're in a more professional setting? Well, the great news is the phrase is almost exactly the same. You just pop in one extra word, cơ quan, which means office. So the whole thing becomes số điện thoại cơ quan của bạn là gì? See? It's just a tiny little tweak for a business context.
Let's switch gears for a second. Imagine you're already in a conversation. Maybe you're swapping names or emails. Just blurting out, "What is?" can feel a little abrupt, right? Well, there's a much smoother way to do it.
And here is that softer approach. Cho tôi số điện thoại nhé. This translates more like give me the phone number, okay. That little word at the end, nhé, is kind of the magic here. It adds this friendly, gentle touch that makes it feel less like a question and more like a really polite request.
Great. So you've totally got the ask down. But what happens when the tables are turned and someone asks you for your number? Let's move on to the reply.
Okay, so the full, totally correct textbook way to answer is số điện thoại của tôi là, and then you just say your number. That little phrase, của tôi, just means my. So you're literally saying, my phone number is. It's the perfect, complete sentence response.
Now, while that full answer is perfectly fine, you'll find that in a real, everyday conversation, people keep it much shorter. Most of the time, you'll just hear people say la, which simply means it's. It's quick, it's to the point, and honestly, it just sounds way more natural.
We've got the questions, we've got the answers. Now, let's put it all together and see how these phrases work in a real back-and-forth dialogue.
All right, let's see this in action. Speaker A gets the ball rolling with our classic direct question. "Số điện thoại của bạn là gì?"
And speaker B comes right back with that full, polite sentence, số điện thoại của tôi là 0903 456 789. Simple enough, right?
But wait, the conversation isn't over. Speaker A follows up with "Con số điện thoại của quan thì sao?" And that "con" thì sao structure, that is a super useful phrase that means "and what about?" You can use it for all sorts of things.
And Speaker B just wraps it all up, again using that full, clear structure to give out their work number. "Số điện thoại cơ quan của tôi là 555 346. And boom, the exchange is complete. Simple and effective.
Okay, you've got the basics completely down. So now let's get into a few pro tips. We'll cover the key vocabulary one more time and show you how to sound even more natural in a casual, friendly chat. All right, let's do a quick recap of the two most important terms here. Just remember, số điện thoại is for your personal number. And if you're in a business setting, you'll want to use số điện thoại cơ quan for an office number. Just getting that distinction right is a huge step. Now, this is a fantastic tip for when you're talking with friends or people your own age. Instead of the more formal tôi for I or me, you can switch to mình. And you can also use công ty for company instead of the more formal cơ quan. So saying something like cho mình số công ty nhé just sounds way more relaxed. These little changes make a huge difference.
And there you have it. From asking directly to replying casually, all the way to a full conversation. You now have the core phrases you need to handle this situation with total confidence. So, let's put it to the test. I'm going to ask you, số điện thoại của bạn là gì? Go on, give it a try. Thanks for joining this little explainer, and happy learning.